Now, while Dr. Bennett concentrates her efforts on eliminating the source of deadly viruses, and that's what we're going to talk to about, others, of course, continue to fight on the front line. And we can now speak to Dr. Larisa, who's working on an intensive care ward in London. Morning, Larisa.
Morning, Larisa.
Wow, you are right. You are right on the front line. How busy is the hospital that you're working in?
It's really busy. The wards, so whereas there used to be just 1 or 2 intensive care unit wards, they're now spilling all over the hospital, and we're having to take over other areas like theatre spaces that would normally be used for operating, doing elective procedures. Now all of that's gone, and the whole focus is really on just treating COVID positive patients. So the ward that I'm on, every single patient has COVID, and every single patient has multi-organ failure of some sort. So it's deeply, deeply harrowing. And there are lots of people, in particular within South London, which is where I'm based.
So what type of people do you see coming into the hospital with COVID-19?
So there's a real range. I mean, the majority of people are older and have got underlying health conditions, but there are other exceptions as well. And, you know, one of the patients that I've been seeing is in his 40s, and he actually recently arrested because he couldn't breathe. So it's, you know, this is a lean, strong, muscular man that you would never suspect, you know, at any other normal circumstances, succumbing to this kind of disease, but people really are. And it's making you realize just how all these things we normally take for granted, so things like feeding, breathing, our blood circulating around our bodies, clearing toxins, sleeping, all of those things, they cannot normally be done with when COVID gets a hold in such a strong way. And so we need ventilators, we're using machines, we're using cannulas, we're using all sorts of equipment and drugs to support these very basic functions in people that they just can't do anymore. And it's a real wake-up call.
Your speciality is fertility, and that's why you've come on the show a number of times. You volunteered to be there on the front line. You lost 4 patients in front of you yesterday. How are you bearing up? How are the rest of the staff bearing up?
Well, thank you for asking. You know, the morale here is incredible. We're seeing deeply harrowing cases that, you know, I hope no one other than all of us who are involved in this have to witness. And it is hard. I'm not going to pretend it's not. It's really hard watching some of this unfold and knowing that, you know, potentially you're putting yourself on the line as well, sort of coming into the unit and so on. But actually, all of that fear leaves you when you go in, and you're there almost as if you're in combat, because this really is like a war zone, and everyone who is there is in that same mode and you know, feels exactly the same. And every morning when we come in, we get asked how we're doing, whether we need any help and support, if we need to take any time out, if anyone feels unwell or that they need to go home, then they're absolutely sent home or they're given a break. It's you know, it's incredible actually just how much support there is for all of us as staff members. We have a wellness hub that's also dedicated to us, where we've got psychologists who are on hand to speak to us, and everyone is just really pulling together. I haven't heard a single person moan about their job, moan about the hours, even, you know, think twice about their own safety. It's just something that we do, and we go for it, and you know, this is what we took our oath to do at the end of the day.
So Larisa, therefore, you know, you've described this as a war zone, that there are things that, you know, you are seeing there. How did it feel then when you were on your journey home from work yesterday after a long shift, seeing those horrific things unfold in front of you, and then seeing people out and about, and lots of people out and about?
You know, it's something that really, I'll be honest, really angered me, Holly. I was supposed to be doing a news broadcast yesterday, and I couldn't get home in time, and I had to do it from my car, and it was because there was so much traffic on the road. It was unbelievable, and so many people walking around. And it makes me so cross to see that, because on the one hand, yes, I can understand people are getting bored at homes, and the self-isolation is not something anyone wants to do. But at the end of the day, you're being asked to just stay at home, and that is it. You can do whatever else you want at home, but we can't do that. We have to come in. All these doctors and nurses are going to be working through Easter. They have no choice. And the consequence of someone's irresponsible behaviour, you know, taking that car trip they don't need to make, going out when they don't need to go out, is that someone will end up in ITU, potentially losing their life. And we're not just talking about one person being affected here. This person is someone's brother, someone's son, you know, someone's granddad or grandma, wife, and there are huge consequences to these families. So I just beg everyone to please, please consider what they're doing, because I don't really know what more we can say on the front line to convince you just how bad this is and how much people are struggling and how much we're trying to cure the situation. But we don't have a vaccine yet. So the only cure literally is self-isolation and distancing. And if you can do it, please, please, I beg you to do it and just consider what's going on in the NHS.
Thank you, Larisa.
Oh, Larisa, look after
please
yourself.
give our love to the rest of the team there.
We're very proud of you, Larisa. We really are.
You are
so
representing
proud.
the teams up and down the country who are trying to keep us safe, keep us well, keep us alive.
Thank you, guys. But you know what? All of us will say we're just doing our jobs. This is, at the end of the day, what we, you know, were built to do. We're now in this war zone. We have to get through it together. And if people, you know, like us, don't go out and fight this fight, you know, what hope is there? So we're going to get through it. I know we will. It'll just take a bit of time. So
Thank you, Larisa. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.